Wanted to take a moment and thank you guys for 100,000 views. It's a pretty big milestone and I appreciate you all being here. So with that said, let's get into the video. That last 9 seconds is about as happy as I get because the rest of this is all negativity, so brace yourself. Skywars Classic Solos and Squads, the game that is responsible for taking away Skywars Trios as well as Skywars Kits and Duos. To make such a bold move like that, this game would have to be great in order for that to happen, right? Obviously, this game is holding up a high standard that would at least compete with the high quality that the regular Skywars is. If you thought that for a second, you're just as gullible and idiotic as I was for thinking different. Because this game mode sucks ass. This bitch slap of a game mode took kits and took trios with it, and this is what we get in return. It is laughably horrific. I cannot wrap my head around the lack of brain cells that was obviously put into putting this game forth. And you know what? That's a very harsh take, and I'm probably a total dickhead for saying such a thing like that, but honestly, can you really tell me that this game mode even comes halfway to the likes of kits or trios? Of course it doesn't. The kits are completely unbalanced, with Archer being really the only viable one and Builder maybe being second place. At least kits had 3 out of 5 viable options. This has like 1.5. And one of the kits isn't even a kit. It's a lack of kit. You can choose to not have a kit. Why would you want to openly give yourself a disadvantage? To think this is what's replacing kits? I mean, I was never a big lover of kits in the first place, and one of my reasons for not liking it was because the way it was released was terrible. The fact that they tried to make Skywars kits a whole different thing, but they just took Skywars and just put the kits in there. So rather than it feeling like an extension of Skywars, it felt like a whole new game that ended up not being so. That pissed me off at the time, but I got over that because it was at least a decent game that changed things up a little bit. This changed things up in the worst way possible. Now, hear me out, okay? It's not a complete and utter failure. It's just primarily a complete and utter failure. Not 100%, maybe like 80 or 90. But the point is, not everything here is absolutely disgusting. The vault keys are kind of cool, and I like that Hive is embracing 1.21 elements. I kind of wish they'd do that more, so at least we got that. But we got it in the worst way possible, and in an unbalanced mess of a game, a disaster. There are cool ideas put into this that are just destroyed by everything else. If you don't go to mid, just jump off a cliff, you're dead, you're gonna lose. You know what, just don't play the game. And listen, I understand that this game is like 24 hours old, so obviously they can make some changes, and they're checking for balancing and stuff like that. But I'm just thinking, shouldn't launch have a lot more care? It's the first impression anybody's going to get of your game. You need a good launch. That's critical. It's critical to guarantee or at least increase your odds of success. There's no success here. I have no reason to believe in this game getting better. It's so bad from the start, I don't give a single shit if this game gets better because I won't want to play it. Who in their right mind thought that this was better than kits, better than trios? And their reasoning behind removing trios is so stupid, so moronic. Hive had mentioned that trios was having a hard time getting over 200 players across all regions. Speaking from a North American region, that's bullshit. That's not true. I was playing trios all the time. At a low, usually at like 10 a.m. CST, we'd have like 225, 250. And then at its peak, we'd usually have like 350, maybe 375. Those aren't super high numbers, no, and usually they were overtaken by solos and duos, but it's not under 200. Can you not count? Are you numerically illiterate? When Hive took away Bed Wars Trios, I kind of ragged on them a little bit because it would have been so much fun. Trios is a fun game mode, but Hive has an issue with Trios because it doesn't have enough players. They want to make the queue times and sustainability of these games greater. Why? Because more players will play and they get more money. So in essence, Hive, obviously being a featured server by Microsoft's hand, is turning into Microsoft themselves! They're becoming greedy! Where's the heart? Where's the fun? Why is everything made with money only? Like, respectfully, Hive, I get it. Money is important, and money around the world, everything costs more and whatnot, but sit your ass down! You're not a big company. You're not a big shot. Quit acting like one. You wanna know what's funny? So Hive really thought they were doing something with the player count when they decided to replace kits. Let me tell you something, 24 hours after the game was launched, it's not doing any better. 24 hours and the numbers are exactly the same. If this is a numbers issue, why the hell on God's green earth is Ground Wars and Block Drop still here? They're not getting 200 players, they're well into the 100s, why aren't they gone? You want to talk about queue times? Get bridge solos out of the game. That's a horrific queue time, but I don't see you mentioning that. Hive just hates trios. I don't know why. And it wouldn't bother me so much if Classic was actually really good, but again, it's not. It's terrible. It would, on my list, probably rank as third lowest. I would take it over Bridge Solos and Ground Wars, but nothing else. I worry about what the Hive may turn into in the next half decade, because in the first half decade I've been playing, so since early 2019, Hive was really good. Like, it didn't have a lot to start with, no, but you could tell there was a lot of passion and effort being put into this. It was a business that needed money to thrive, and I respected that because the quality of games that we were getting were almost always high, whether they necessarily clicked with me or not. At least in the objective sense, they were almost always solid. The additional level Skywars will be receiving in the upcoming weeks is nice. I don't mind that at all. I figured it was high time, and, well, they got that covered. With Bed Wars, I was able to accept the fact that while it's not as good as Treasure Wars in my eyes, for everybody else, it's a better game because it works with more people overall. Skywars is just removing really good things and replacing them with bad, which isn't good for anybody. You're ruining your game. This change pissed a lot of people off, and rightfully so, and I'm right there with them. So, not only will I say justice for trios, but I will leave this video with this last little warning. Hive, in the most polite way possible, pull your head out of your ass before you piss off even more people.